Hey guys, and welcome to today's episode. This is David with Geeks and Jocks. In this channel, we talk everything about Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic TCGs. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the new mechanics that are coming out in Innistrad Midnight Hunt. This is the new set for Magic the Gathering, and this is what this video is going to be about. Just a reminder, if you like our content, comment, like, and share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So first of all, Innistrad Midnight Hunt. It's coming out on September 16 on Magic Arena and on September 24th on physical Magic the Gathering. This set contains at least 3 new mechanics, which are the following: Daybound and Nightbound, Disturbed, and Coven. First of all, let's talk about what is Daybound and Nightbound, which is also going to be the main focus of this video. So if we look at Tavern Ruffian, you have 3 colorless and a red. It's a creature, human, warrior, werewolf. It's a Daybound. If a player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night the next turn. And its counterpart, Tavern Smasher, it's a creature werewolf. It's Nightbound. If a player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day the next turn. It's a 6/5. A good thing to keep in mind is that if it's day, double face cards should be on the Daybound. And if it's night, you can just go ahead and cast that Nightbound. Then we have Disturbed, which is the following. You may cast this card from your graveyard transform for its Disturbed cost. Here we have Bait Hook Angler, which is a colorless and a blue. It's a creature, human, peasant. It has Disturbed for a colorless and a blue, and it's a 2/1. But when it's cast for its Disturbed cost, it becomes Hook Haunt Drifter. It's a creature spirit flying. If Hook Haunt Drifter will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead, and it's a 1/2. So basically, it's giving you a lot of recursion. It's giving you a lot of opportunities to cast from the graveyard. A lot of black decks and blue decks like this because they send cards to the graveyard. They self-mill, and it can give you a plethora of options to cast from the graveyard. Then we go to Coven. And this ability can only be activated if you control 3 or more creatures, and they all have different powers. Here we have Candle Trap for white. It's an enchantment aura. It's an enchantment creature. Enchanted creature has Defender. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt by enchanted creature. And it has Coven for 2 colorless and a white. It sacrifice Candle Trap, exile enchanted creature. Activate only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers. So these are the 3 new mechanics that are coming out in Innistrad Midnight Hunt. And like I said, we will be focusing on the Daybound and Nightbound. This idea has been around for a long time. Specifically, as stated by Mark Rosewater on his podcast on February of 2013. He was talking about original Innistrad that made its debut on September of 2011. This was originally the set that was gonna have the Daybound and Nightbound mechanics, specifically because it was the first set that came with the double-faced cards. Fun fact is that double-faced cards come from Duel Masters. That was also a game that was developed by Wizards of the Coast, and they were trying to make sure that this will go well with the printing process of the cards. So original Innistrad was going to focus on the big 3 for Halloween, which was werewolves, vampires, and zombies, specifically Frankenstein. And this is very important because Frankenstein is a child of science. Basically, it was made out of parts from different people, so it is a zombie, but it was made in a scientific way according to the lore of Frankenstein. And this made it very important because everything that has to do with science in Magic the Gathering, it's blue. So therefore we have blue zombies. But now we have the monsters. We also needed the victims, which were, and in this case, are humans that come in various different colors throughout the history of Magic the Gathering. And then before 5 months, at least 5 months before it was released, it was also stated that ghosts or spirits were added into the original Innistrad. And since this is an iteration of Innistrad, it's we are visiting back that plane. We have the same creature types on this plane, which is zombies, werewolves, vampires, ghosts or spirits, and humans. But this gives us two questions. Why wasn't this added into the first original Innistrad, Daybound and Nightbound? Why was Daybound and Nightbound mechanic not added into the original Innistrad? Also, why is it good now? Why is it now part of this set? So first of all, the reason that it wasn't included, it was because it was already doing too much. We gotta remember that in original Innistrad, the double face cards were it was the first time they came out. And it received a lot of criticism even within Wizards of the Coast. Now trying to keep tabs on if it was day or night, and also having double face cards was gonna be a little bit too much for the newer players. And now we have seen, at least to my opinion, a lot of sub-tier mechanics, like Foretell, going into an adventure. We had energy a while back in Kaladesh, and I'm talking about sub-tier or that are not to par with like better mechanics, because they stand alone in their own sets. And since they don't get any more support, they tend to die. Because going in an adventure was from Throne of Eldraine. Then we had Foretell that came out in Kaldheim. And then the oldest one of these is the Energy, which came out in Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. Therefore, I think that this type of mechanics, you need to give them a lot of cards to pull from. Because this type of cards will only have a very short-lived period in a standard, and they will not fare well in Pioneer or Modern, because they don't have a big card pool to pull from. A perfect example is Temur Energy, that ever since it went out of rotation with Kaladesh and Aether Revolt block, then it never saw any play in the new format, which is Pioneer. All I'm saying is that if you're gonna include this new mechanic, give us enough cards to pull from, or at least once it is about to rotate out, give it another set. That way it has more cards to pull from. Give it enough cards, and this mechanic will thrive, because it's the only one that I see that it's very dependent on the set. Because Disturbed, you can play a lot of graveyard decks. That's not a problem. They are abundant in Pioneer and Modern. And you have Coven. It's a swarm decks, or decks that have a lot of creatures. It's very common in Magic the Gathering. Now, Daybound and Nightbound, it's a mechanic that it only exists in the small little world of Innistrad. Therefore, I believe that they should go heavy on it. If not, it's gonna be a flash in the pan, only for standard and only for a very limited time. And even if it's good enough, because we don't know yet if it's gonna be good enough. Mark Rosewater says that it's very fun because it gives it another layer to the game, make it one of the players that is more that benefits the most from being night. They want to make it night, and the player that benefits the more from making it day, they try to make it day, since the day or night will rule on the board, not only on one side of the board itself, on one side of the game. Having said this, let me know what you think about this new mechanics. Let me know if you disagree with me, or if you like our content. And just to remind you, if you do like our content, comment, like, and share. That will be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. That will be really helpful for us. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So with that being said, I want to thank our sponsors, Dex and Gaming. Both are linked in the description of this video. Also, I'm going to link the Mark Rosewater's Driving to Work, because I think it's a very, very powerful podcast. It lets you in the mind of when they are creating these cards, and also takes you through the history of the game. So it's going to be linked in this video. That's it for today's video. See you in the next one.